everyone. I am super excited to be with you today on the Hero series with my guests today, Mark Hulton and Will Davies of HBD Partners. Hello, gentlemen. And they specialise in hospitality, leisure and travel recruitment. So, gentlemen, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for inviting us.
You are very welcome. So what we would love to know, we like to get straight into the meat in these sessions. So what we'd love to know is, could you tell us, just first of all, a teeny weeny bit about your business and your background?
So our business is built on recruiting into the hospitality sector. We focus mainly on hotels. We started with recruiting commercial roles. And we've kind of widened that out now to encompass finance and revenue and some IT areas as well in hospitality. We both have a hospitality background, so we came from industry, sweat, blood and tears out of hospitality and into recruitment. And we met actually in a former business. We worked in prior to setting up on our own. Yeah, recruitment business, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I think all the best people, you know, it's funny, isn't it? Recruitment brings you to work. A lot of people have worked together, haven't they? And then set up on themselves later on. How long?
He was the first person to interview me. In the
oh my goodness.
It's all his fault. It's all his fault.
My bad.
Oh, I love it. So, so tell us, yeah, where were you? Let's go back to 12 months ago in the business when things weren't necessarily the way you wanted them to be. Tell us a bit about what was happening in the business back then.
So 12 months ago, 15 months ago, Mark and I were really looking to scale the business. You know, we just come out of the pandemic. We were doing well up until the pandemic. We managed to survive the pandemic and we really wanted to grow, but we didn't have a clue how to go about that. And there was a lot of hesitancy, I think, with both of us of how to go about it. Was our business in the right shape to be able to grow? It's a big risk. You know, there was a lot of hesitation there. So that's where we were 12 months ago.
Well, I think, and also putting it into the context of COVID and the industry that we trade in, hospitality. I mean, hospitality's doors were shut down. So we'd gone from having a really successful, buoyant business to something that had fallen off the edge of a cliff, basically. So it was trying to rebuild that, but also enact the growth strategy that we had wanted to start at the beginning of 2020 when the world went into lockdown.
Yeah. Okay. And so that was happening for you. So what did you start making changes? Where was the first place that you started in the business?
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and also give your perspective. But for us, I think the massive change started with mindset, and that was the catalyst for everything that has followed. And I think the most important part of that was to get the confidence from you guys, but also to get the understanding that anything is possible, and to be really coached in terms of that.
I think the biggest thing that I took away was we were always sitting in our office going, oh, when we get to this level of revenue, we'll hire someone, or we'll hire two people. When we get to this level of revenue. And then when we started talking to Centered Excellence, it was very much a case of, well, no, take someone on to get you to that level of revenue and beyond. And that was the real mindset change for us as well. And that really made a big difference. And that made us feel so much more confident as well, because we didn't have the confidence before. So that was a real mindset change.
Yeah, it's an interesting shift, isn't it? From, you know, when I make that revenue, I'm going to get somebody on board, or when I make that revenue, you know, I'm going to start to go to the gym, whatever it is. We have these things in our heads, don't we? But we have a saying that we flip it. So instead, it's when I hire that person, then the revenue is actually going to start to come through. Because the reality is we've got to take the action. We have a saying, action precedes clarity. So you've got to take the action to actually get the outcome that you want, haven't you? But I agree with you. There's a mindset shift that has to happen for us to understand that actually without that action, we're not necessarily going to move, or we're not going to get the outcome that we want.
I think also from a personally and how I was feeling,
yeah,
not a dark place, but I definitely, I'm sure, my wife would agree as well, that I was continuously kind of moaning and I wasn't in a happy place in terms of where the business was and where we were at, and some of that was kind of macro, due to the macro environment, and some was micro environment, and I think that the shift was really important. Like, we both had to go through that to then move forward.
Yeah. On that, what was the catalyst to get you to take that action, though, to do something differently? Because I think, we can have that underlying being unhappy in a situation, can't we? But to take a step outside of that comfort zone to say, I'm actually going to do something about it, whether that's get help, whether that's change something within the business. What was it that sort of was that catalyst?
Well, I think it's the understanding that if you don't try and change, if you don't try and make change, and if you don't try and switch something up, nothing will be different. You're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to get to realize what you're trying to do if you don't actually take that step and sometimes throw yourself into the deep end. And we all by definition have an entrepreneurial mindset, otherwise we wouldn't be in this situation anyway. But it's a matter of how far you're willing to stretch that as well, and how much of the risk you're willing to take on to try and get to that reward at the end of it.
And accepting help as well, and saying to each other, we can talk to someone else, we can talk to people who've done it before, and leverage off their experience, and we're not alone. That's the one thing I think Centre of Excellence has made us see, that we're not doing this alone, and there's a whole community of people going through the same things that we've gone through and are going through, and things that we will go through. So it's understanding or recognizing that we're not on our own, and we can accept help, and it will help us to get to the next level as well.
The group. The community is such an important part of what's contributed to our success as well. It's been incredible.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because as business partners, I think sometimes people can maybe be forgiven for thinking, well, look, there's two of us together. Surely we can get to the answer here. Do we really want to be getting other people, or do we need to go and get help or other people to show us what, that actual path is? But it's interesting, isn't it? Because I can say this from the point of view of Nikki and I, as you guys know very well, we always invest in getting outside help and source and have more than one coach. It's like, whatever thinking got you into this situation is not the same thinking that's going to get you out of the situation. And so you're right. There has to come that point, the Einstein saying, isn't there? Definition of insanity: keep doing the same thing, keep getting the same result. So we have to back ourselves and actually see that to get, if we go outside of our way of thinking, if you like, or what's going on in our own bubble, is actually going to open our eyes to other things. And you're right, that's where a community of people really brings that power and value, doesn't it? Because it's not just one person, one coach, one individual, one support mechanism. You've actually got then a mastermind group of many. So
there's the communication as well. So apart from it's having input from different people who have different experiences and who can bring something different to the party, but it's also about seeing what other people are doing and have done, and that's another massive driver, because it's proof that anything is possible with the right tools. And that's where you guys have been incredible, is giving us the tools to be able to get to where we are at the moment.
Yeah, and utilizing the resources that are available has been invaluable to us, definitely.
So let's talk about those tools then. Give us an example of one of those tools or tactics that you've practically implemented. So many.
Yeah, I mean, God, where do we
the
start?
scorecard.
Yeah.
Simple. Looking at the figures on a regular basis, breaking it down, looking at what you're doing week on week, month on month, quarter by quarter, has just revolutionized what we're doing. And it's got us through a really, tough period for us recently, because, both of us have been out of the business for extended periods of time, but able to see what's going on with the business. We're not having to be in it, and we can see what's going on, and we can see what needs to be done. And that's just made a massive difference to us.
Weekly accountability, and this sounds small and seems small, but actually has had a massive effect on driving the business forward and making decisions and doing something that, as you guys say, will powerfully move the business forward on a week by week basis. So weekly accountability has been invaluable as well. And
even going right back to the beginning, when we started Rocket, one of the first exercises was to write down every 15 minutes what we were doing with our time. I mean, even that basic exercise just made me stand back and go, this is all of this time I'm wasting doing things that I'm not in flow with. And we used that for the rest of the team, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is that, you can take these lessons and what we're learning and share it with the team as well, to get them on board and get them working to their optimal capacity.
Yeah, that's such an interesting exercise, isn't it? What your time is actually worth, and the fact that time is more valuable than money. I mean, this was one of the big lessons that Nikki and I learned in our business that totally changed where that business has gone, is the fact that we can't create more time, but we can always make more money. And so we have to be so robust and strict about what we spend our time on. And you just said it there, Will, isn't it? It's about, well, am I spending that time in my super strengths, where I've got, ultimate productivity and ultimate return for that time? Because when we start to make that shift and only spend our time in those areas, or certainly increase the amount of time we've got in those areas, massively goes up. And I think for recruitment business owners, we classically have so many things on our plate anyway, don't we? Recruitment is such a, it's that, you're always juggling multiple balls, aren't you? It's that classic, oh my God, have I got everything going? Have I got enough candidates? Have I got enough clients? And so on. And so we are very, very busy. You don't know any recruitment business owner that's not flat out, or, recruiter that's not flat out. And so to actually start to get clarity on what you say hell yes to and what you're going to say hell no to, and how you're going to manage that time in the most effective way, is a task in itself, isn't it? It's something you've got to learn. So you're right. So tell me something. What did you learn when you did that process? What change did you make in your business? And then what was the result of that change?
Well, the key change from that exercise was we recognized that we need to take on an office manager or PA to come and take all of those mundane tasks off us that we don't need to be doing. And that was a key change for us, and helped us recognize where we gave us more time to be able to focus on the business.
Yes.
Allowed us to continue recruiting to make sure there was money coming into the business as we grew a team. And also, it helped us to run the business as well, because we took someone on who could then take on those tasks, but do more and take more off our remit and run with it.
And then also looking at a different model as well, to try and push that through into the team. So we are hiring for 2 resources at the moment, so that we can change our model from 360 effectively now to a 240 model. And that's going to make a massive difference to where we are and where we want to go.
Brilliant. So by having that office manager, what's that changed? I mean, in terms of results, are there any specifics you could share in terms of what difference that's made on the output of the business?
So that it's definitely helped us to get on top of our figures much better. So now we have a weekly Monday morning meeting with the team to run through the KPIs, the figures that we have, so that everyone knows where we're at. We all know where we need to go and what's needed. And in terms of collating that data and inputting it, that's been really helpful there, because that's not something that we need to do. It's areas like that are really helping us get on top of our business and where we are and what we need to achieve.
And in addition to that, having an office manager to take on lots of the daily tasks that I was getting involved with has allowed me more time to input more structure into the team and into the business. So, what we didn't have 12 months ago were interview plans and questions, for each position, induction plans for each position, onboarding plans, SOP manuals. That allowed me time to write SOP manuals and record videos of, for training. So now we have a whole SOP manual and training module for both new starters and for people already in the business who can they can just go to refer to them. So it's allowed us time to create that structure to help the team to then deliver results.
Amazing. And that just accelerates the performance of those individuals straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's within the first 3 months. Well, first month.
Yeah,
amazing. And which is unheard of in most organizations in recruitment. Somebody just doesn't bill until at least month 3, if not month 4. So what we're saying here is, getting absolutely clear about where your time can be spent, because for a lot of recruitment businesses, they probably think, well, that sounds like quite a luxury. Like, there's no way I would be able to do those types of things, because, as you're saying, I'm getting sucked into some of the tasks that actually aren't the right tasks or lower level tasks that I could get somebody else to do. Not that I'm saying for any moment that an office manager is a low level task. Is actually, one of the most important roles in a business.
It was I can't remember when it was, but one of the sessions that you and Nikki ran about how much does your time cost, and that's one of the most revealing things to do, I think, because then you realise where time is money, and where your time is being spent as the business owner is not doing admin and data and putting together data and all those areas.
Exactly. Okay, brilliant. So what else has been a game changer for you guys? So you talked about, putting together, first getting clear on where your time's spent. There, off the back of that, knowing that actually we need to bring in somebody on a more administrative office manager basis to take that stuff off your plate. That's enabled you to work strategically on the business rather than in the business. You mentioned about then having peak performance strategy inputted into your business, which is, what are the goals, what are the outputs, making sure people have got measurables and metrics to their roles, because that encourages accountability. What else have you noticed as really made a difference to your results?
I think recognizing, Centre of Excellence calls it gold jobs on Rocket. So we've rolled that out to the team. So they when they take a job on, or they have an inquiry for a job, they can recognize immediately, is this a job I can fill? Am I going to fill? Is it worth my time? That's made a big difference. So the team now are always, looking at the criteria for the job to see, is it worth taking on? If they take it on, where's it going to sit in their jobs list? That's made them prioritize their time a lot better. So they're focusing on the jobs that are going to make them money and make them commission. That's been a real game changer.
Us getting clear on who we're looking for to grow our business. So getting really clear on what kind of resource is it? Is it someone that we want to then grow into being a consultant, or is it a career resource? Then what are the attributes and the personality traits that we want and that we're looking for? And it's things like that you just don't think about, and it's not something that you would sit down and overdo, but it makes so much sense when you've been given the opportunity to understand it.
And we've got it wrong so many times before, in previous jobs and since we've run our own business. But when we get it right, it makes such a big difference. And Centre of Excellence and Talent Dynamics and all those, the resources available in terms of the questions you ask, the attributes you look for, all of that has made such a big difference, because we've got really good people in our business now, and we're really excited about what they will do in the future.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Because even as recruiters, I think we have this sort of underlying.
I was trying to explain this to someone yesterday. He was like, what do you mean? You're having a laugh? Why?
Yeah.
Surely you're hiring the best people. I'm like, no, it's difficult.
It is. I mean, it just shows that, you know, we're mastering something that we're great at, but we're great at it for others. And then I think we cut corners sometimes, don't we, for ourselves, maybe because we're spending all that time with our clients and we're not as robust on our own process. And it's interesting, isn't it? When you dive underneath and you get that absolute clarity on that superstar person that you want to bring into your business, but then you get underneath what that really looks like and how it's about how you test for it too, isn't it? Because you can have an idea of the type of person that you want to recruit, but then you've got to work back, well, how specifically do I know if that person has that skill? Like, what is it that I'm going to be doing with them that's going to bring that skill to life and enable me to tick that box to see that, yes, they've definitely got that. And that's where building that robust system and making sure that you've got those right strategies in your hiring process for you to do that is so important, isn't it? And again, I think it's enabling you to have the time to do it rather than think, oh, I just got to get somebody into our business and get them on board and make that quick. And so let's talk about, because you also talked about the model.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about changes that you're making there.
So with your help, I think what we've realized is that for our business, the best model at the moment will be to have consultants who are business developers and delivery consultants, and then 2 key positions of resources who are just looking for candidates, because it is a challenging market at the moment. It's a candidate-driven market. I think it is in most segments. So that's a real focus for our business at the moment, and being able to shift the model in terms of how we work and how we look at it, I think is going to really help. And I suppose to put it into context, we did have a resourcer who we've actually just promoted into a consultant role, which is why we're looking to take on someone to replace him and then bring another one on board. So it's already worked for us really well, and the proof is sitting in the office now. So we're going to try and replicate that and put more power behind it by bringing an extra head on in that area.
Great. And so what difference has that made?
It's enabled us to increase our database of good candidates immeasurably. We now find it much easier to get to market much more quickly for our clients, which that's one of our USPs is the area that we focus in the network, but also being able to find candidates quickly. So it's helped hugely with that. I mean, it's a game changer.
Great, brilliant. And I think, that's the thing, isn't it? People understanding that their candidates are their customers ultimately. So we can have all these jobs galore, but if we haven't got that consistent flow of candidates coming in, then we can't ultimately fulfill those vacancies and fulfill the requirements of the clients. And you're right, in today's world, we're having to be so much more strategic and savvy about how we engage and connect and nurture our candidates, don't we? So we don't really want them sitting on LinkedIn. We actually want to put them into our own database where they're searchable and that we can nurture those candidates for future opportunities. It's about future pipelining as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's building our reputation as recruiters as well, in that, we have 2 people, we'll have 2 people who will be out there talking to candidates about us, keeping in touch with them, being more proactive than reactive. And also it's helped with our clients as well when we go to see, especially new clients, and we say, one of our USPs is that, we'll get CVs out to you quickly, and then they ask, what do we do? And we tell them we have, 2 resources sitting there all day long looking for people, and they're impressed with that, with the effort we put behind it and how that machine works.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we talked about the model, we talked about time, we've talked about making sure that people have like a performance structure, so how you actually drive performance
Accountability, isn't it? Yeah.
through your individuals and accountability. So anything that we've missed that you think has been a key, something that as a recruitment business owner you would want other people to know about that makes a difference when it comes to scaling your business or getting your business ready to scale, to scale and increasing profit?
I think the acronym that I always that comes back to me all the time is JFDI.
Yes.
And that's been the key thing for our business.
What does that stand
you know
for?
what that means. Just if you can do it. And Mark and I were both, I wouldn't say we were risk averse, but we were always very cautious about spending money, making changes, hiring somebody into the business. And we've just, through centered excellence, and the mindset change is just to do it. And we've made some big decisions. We've spent money here and there. We've got lots of new technology on board. We've hired a team, things that I never thought we would do 12 months ago. And we're so far beyond where I thought we would be looking ahead 12 months ago, because we've just done it. And not to say done it and worried about the consequences later, but it's proven to us that actually just by doing it, it's had a positive effect. And we haven't had to turn around and go, actually, no, we won't do that, or let's ratchet that back. No, it's worked every time. And that's because we've got the centered excellence resource and support network around us as well, to feed from and to support and to ask questions.
It's also given us confidence in knowing that everything will work out. So being able to go in the direction that we want to go in, it's not a concern because we know it's going to happen. We know it's going to work. And without the tools and the support and the guidance that we've got from you guys, we would never be in that position, ever. And
well,
we can see it in our figures, in our results.
And so what change have you seen there?
We've everything's doubled at 50%. So we've doubled our net fee income, so our revenue year on year, which has been massive. We've doubled our headcount, more than doubled our headcount, and that's just in the first 12 months. So who knows what's going to happen in the next 12 months.
Our fees have gone up. Sometimes as much as 5%.
We're working much more exclusively now. I would say, whereas before maybe 20% of the roles we worked on were exclusive, I'd say we're probably more around 60-70% now exclusive.
Great, brilliant, fantastic. So all these accountability metrics, this is ultimately, because a lot of recruiters will shy away from those things because we think, don't we, we've been beaten over the head, let's say, with some of those things before in the past. And like Will was saying, sometimes you can hear that language and you might have a perceived idea as to what that means and what would that look like in my business if I want to generate this culture of, empowerment, etc. But actually what we're saying, what I'm hearing you guys say is, no, if you put some of these basic principles into place in your business, it actually creates that empowerment. It creates that culture of accountability.
I mean, that's really interesting because when we started the business, 5 years ago, Mark and I were very much, we'd come from a business that was very metrics, everything was tracked from how long you spent on the phone, how many phone calls you made, as well as, CV sent, interviews, first interviews, second interviews. And we always said that we wouldn't go down that route, but actually by introducing the basics, it's made a massive deal. And we actually we haven't done it to the team all in one go. We've started with introducing, one metric, and then a few months later we'll introduce another one. So the team are getting used to it because we haven't had it before, but it's made a massive difference. And now everyone's happy with it, and they don't feel like they're being bombarded because they're only 4 or 5. You're right. It's key to running a business.
Also, I think you get your head around it as well, and actually 3-4 months down the line, once you've introduced it, it's something that you really want. It builds achievement. It starts to create a network of achievement within the team, and you're actually striving to hit the target and to hit your goal. So it's been hugely positive.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, good for you guys, because like you say, I love, and you know, as you know, we love it, JFDI, but it is all about the execution, isn't it? You can have as many ideas as you want, but if you don't execute those ideas, there's no reality that is going to be created. And I think quite often people perhaps get stuck in that wheel of procrastination because they've got ideas and they've got these things that they want to implement, but they don't understand the how. How do I pick that up, that strategy that I want to put in my business? But how do I then kind of cascade that through other people into systems and processes that are going to do that on a continuous, consistent basis and get results? Because hello. If it was that easy, you know, we'd all be smashing it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think it's been a big takeaway for us is consistency.
Great. Okay, so guys, what would you say to anybody who perhaps is sitting in that position that you were a year ago? Maybe they're a bit concerned, they don't want to spend money, maybe they feel like, I don't know what's going to happen in 2023, or they're a little bit worried about the results, and they're doing that when this happens, I'm going to take the action. What would you say to somebody in that position?
JFDI.
Yeah. just get on with it. And if it's something that you want to do and you're genuinely engaged and passionate and enthusiastic about growing your business, your recruitment business, then get on with it. Don't waste time. Just start doing it now. And yeah, I mean, speak to you guys. Yeah. Like that, it's so much more difficult to do something on your own without the knowledge and without the understanding. So use as much knowledge and help and advice and guidance and mentoring as you can.
I think the return on investment by signing up to Centred Excellence, the resources available through the Rocket program alone are worth that investment. I think on top of that, you get the community, you get, you know, the Facebook group, the weekly calls, and that's on top. I mean, it's just the amount of information and support and practical information as well, things you can take away and implement in your business, is astounding. And that's all the effort that you and Nikki have gone to create those is immense. And that alone is worth the investment into Centred Excellence. But then you get all of that community on top, and speaking to people, other business owners, you know, on a weekly basis is invaluable.
And it works.
And it works. Absolutely it works. You know, and I remember when we sat down, you know, over a year ago, and listened to these videos, other people doing these videos saying, "Oh, we've doubled our NFI," and we were always a bit skeptical, going, "Yeah, right," you know. And actually, we're sitting here 12 months later, and we've done the same thing. We've made, you know, our NFI, our revenue has exceeded our expectations, like, you know, this year, massively.
Brilliant. Good for you guys. Good for you guys. I salute you on that. Well, it's the implementers. We're here. You know, we will always help people, and we will go above and beyond to help people. And at the same time, it's got to be actioned, hasn't it? So hats off to you both. Really, congratulations on that. And thank you so much for being our heroes. Yay!
Thank you.
This time around. So if you are listening, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and that you've walked away believing you can do the same. Now, here's what I want to end on. Think, what's the one thing that you're going to JFDI off the back of what Mark and Will have shared with you today? What are you going to implement into your business? And when are you going to do it? Because remember, don't let it sit on the shelf. A shelf help, take action. So guys, thank you so much. And we will see you again very soon on the Hero Series. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, bye.